already started. So there we go. Let me go live on Facebook.
Whoop, whoop.
Oh, darn it. It wasn't prepared for, hold on. They've got this two-factor authentication on Facebook now.
The world is changing.
Like anyone's really trying to log into my Facebook, but that's okay. We'll play their game. So there we go. We are live on Facebook. We're live with everyone. So I see a bunch of people joining in. Hey, everyone. Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you're at in the country. My name is Eleni Summershields. I am the Chief Operating Officer here at Wise Agent. I am joined today by Nakia Brooks. He is a good friend. He's the operating broker at BKG Real Estate in right outside of Atlanta, Georgia, right?
Georgia, Northeast Atlanta, absolutely.
Yeah, he has been a realtor for 17 years, has done thousands of transactions and managed tens of thousands of transactions throughout his career. And he's joined today. He's joining us today. We're going to be talking about building a foundation for your business in 30, 30, and 3. It's a program that you designed, you developed, you created, right? And you coach on this program. So we've got a ton of people from Texas and so you've got a fan. Debbie is saying Nakia is the best broker ever. From California.
And I see a lot of Florida folks here. I'm actually in Amelia Island, Florida for the Georgia Realtor Conference. So I have stepped away from the conference. So the Florida people have been amazing. I actually am a broker in Florida. We have an office in Tampa as well as Greenville, South Carolina. So I love my Florida people for sure. Thank you, Debbie, for the shout out. We love you too.
Yeah, we got Rita from Atlanta in the city. So Fernandina, oh boy, I gotta wear my glasses. Fernandina Beach, I'm assuming that's in Florida. So yeah, welcome everyone. Yeah, keep posting where you guys are at in what brokerage you're with, what city and state that you're in. We got some people from St. Pete's, awesome. And Michael in California, Northern California, welcome. So we've got an hour-long conversation with Nakia today. I wanted to jump right in and start. First of all, though, we are recording this session. It's going to be in your inbox as soon as we're done. We do have Sarah who's moderating behind the scenes, the chat. So if you have any questions, feel free to post them in the chat here or in the Q&A section, and we'll be answering those for you along the way. If you have to step away and answer that phone call if it's one of your clients. Don't worry about it. You can watch the recording afterwards. It's also being broadcast on Facebook, and then it'll live forever and ever in YouTube. So in the land of YouTube. So all right, we're going to just jump right in, Nakia, and I want you to explain to everyone what this 30, 30, and 3 is, because I think it's just such an interesting thing. And I'm going to be sharing my screen along the way to show you how you can implement this within your Wise Agent account as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first and foremost, thanks for having me. I came from a background, I was a law enforcement officer in Metro Atlanta. And when I started teaching in law enforcement, I really realized one thing very quickly. You have to really teach to the lowest common denominator, because not everybody's really smart, not everybody's really dumb, but you have to teach at a level that really makes it easy for people to do. When we make it easy for people to do, you can replicate it very easily. You can make it a process, and then it makes it easy for people to do it because they don't get frustrated. Because what I've learned over 17 years and teaching and coaching thousands of agents, if you get frustrated, you just quit, and quitting sucks, right? This business is hard enough. Every single year we're changing the forms. Every single year we're changing the way we do business. Every single year there's a new lawsuit that comes up. And so this business is hard enough to keep up with all that stuff. We shouldn't make our lead generation and our databases very hard. And so after coaching so many people, being around so many people, I have a saying to my kids all the time and to all of our agents, like, you're only as good as the 3 people you surround yourself with. Are those 3 people bringing you up, or are they bringing you down? So guys, this 30, 30, and 3 is just a combination of many years of hanging around the coolest people, the highest minded people, and having the opportunity to be in that space. So 30, 33 is very simple. 30 minutes a day, we're going to work on our database. We're going to dive into this today. 30 minutes a day, we're going to work on our systems. And 3 days a week for 1 hour, we're going to work in our database. And so we're going to go through that. We're going to talk about it, but we're working on our database, on our systems, and in our database. And so I'm ready to get started if you are.
Okay, I am. Yeah, so I'm going to share my screen here. Ooh, if I can find the right screen to share. Hold on. Let me make sure I have the right one. Here we go. So what, do you want to talk a little bit about, what, I know we have a little bit, I always feel like, everyone's entitled to their opinion. An opinion is just that, right? It doesn't mean anyone's right. One person is right and the other is wrong. It's just an opinion. And so I know, Nakia, you're very passionate about, if you have and I know you've got a large database in your phone and just in general, a lot of people. And so you've got almost 10,000 people on your phone. Your school of thought is, don't add 10,000 people into your database all in one sitting at one time. Where my school of thought is, you can, if you're going to do it though, you got to play by certain rules. Don't add 10,000 people to a drip campaign all starting at the same time, and then you can't possibly be able to handle 10,000 messages going out and then coming back in, because you might have a 20% response rate, and that's going to be a lot of people that if you're one agent, you won't be able to respond to.
Yeah, absolutely. So in 17 years, I have used or tried or looked at every single database that's out there. Oh, let me look at this CRM. And so what I've learned is, in coaching folks, like, we all have access to these things, but most of them aren't doing it correctly. So the first thing I tell people to do is take out your cell phone. And you guys on the webinars, I want you to take those out right now. And so when you go into your contacts and look at your contacts. I don't know if you can see mine, but I've got 9,857 contacts in my phone. But what a lot of people don't understand is 9,857 contacts. A contact is not a contact unless you have certain criteria. You got to have a full name. You can't just have Bobby on there. You got to have Bobby Smith, and you got to have a phone number, because you got to be able to understand how I'm getting in touch with Bobby. And then you have to have an email address, Michael Phelps, right? So I want you to have a first name, a last name, an email address, a phone number. And as you get through this and get this process started, so I'm all about systems, right? Anytime you do something more than 3 times, that's a process. When you create a checklist and you write that process down, that's now a system. So part of that system is, I need to work on my contacts, name, email address, phone number. All right. Now we want to make sure that we also, do they own or do they rent? Now what kind of client do we have that we need to be working through? Right. And then as you're making these phone calls and talking to these people, I know it's crazy. We actually got to talk to people in order to sell houses. But once we do that, now we have to start getting more data. I'm huge. I tell a story all the time. For the longest time, I did short sales. I closed over about 700 short sales and on our team. And one of the things that I would do is I would call other agents saying, hey, if you don't want to do a short sale, I'll do them. I pay your referral fee. Well, I called one agent and I said, hey, what's going on? She's, hey, Nakia. She wants to talk to me, and she's like, hey, listen, I'm going to call you back. I'm in line. We're next to ride Dumbo at Disney. So I was like, oh, have a great time. the next time I talked to her, I was like, how was Disney? How was Dumbo? Because I had put those notes in my CRM. Here's my conversation from the last time. I put those notes in the CRM. She was blown away. How did you remember that I actually was at Disney, nonetheless that I talked to you in the Dumbo line? I'm like, hey, it's my job to build these relationships and have relationships. That's how I do my business. So it's about setting up those processes so that it makes it easy for you to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that's after every single conversation, you really need to be putting in all those notes, because all those little details make a world of difference. That's why 10,000 people, because then they start talking and saying, hey, you know what? Nakia remembers every single detail. I mean, you don't probably remember it. You can go back and recall it because you put a note in it. So we've made it really easy for you to do that. So even from your contact list, you're going through, you just, with a click of a button, now I can write a note in here, notes about conversation, right? And so now I can just make this note and then just add it really quickly. It just does it. It's not a lot of effort to do that and make it where, you don't have a lot of things to really hold you back from doing that. And so taking notes is a big thing.
Yeah. So now once we go through our phone, and so the premise of 30, 30, and 3 is really simple. 30 minutes a day, I'm going to work on my database. And what I tell people all the time is you have to do it for 30 minutes, right? Don't do it for 27 minutes. Don't do it for 34 minutes. You got to do it for 30 minutes. We all have timers on our phone. Set this timer and make this intentional. You're not going to be able to go through all of your contacts in one 30-minute setting, but we're going to work on this 30 minutes a day. What we know, Gary Keller says in his book, The One Thing, it takes 66 days to create a habit, right? So what we're doing is we're working on this 30 minutes a day. Say, okay, I'm going to do this for an hour today because this is really cool. I'm in a groove. I want to go. But then what happens that I see in my experience is tomorrow there's a really good episode on Jerry Springer. So I did that for an hour yesterday. I don't need to do my 30 minutes today. What I want you to do is set that habit up in place to make sure that you're doing it for 30 minutes every single day. So that first step is making sure you have the name, email address, and phone number. The next step that I want you to do, once you go through all your contacts and you do that, the next step that I want you to do is categorize your contacts. So for me, and guys, this is just my way of doing this. There's thousands of ways to do this. This is just the way that I've found easiest over the years, and the way that I teach is I do sphere of influence A, B, C, D, E, and F. All right. Sphere of influence A are your top 100 people, right? Those are the people that they know you, that when you go to their house, you don't go to the front door, you go through the garage, and you don't knock on the garage door. You open the door and you're like, hey, I'm here. You know their kids, they know your kids. Like, that's your top 100 people. Think about your phone. Take your phone out, look at your contacts in your phone. Who are those top 100 people? That's your sphere of influence A. And so that's the ones that you want to do. Sphere of influence B is people who have referred you business. All right. In the very beginning, if you're a brand new agent, you don't have any Bs. But you do, as you start working through this, then you're going to have those Bs. Sphere of influence C are people that you know, that they know you, you know them, they know you by name. You may not be really close where they're going to come up in your garage and walk on in your house, but you know them. Then it comes to D, those are unknowns. Those are your Domino's pizzas, your CVS pharmacists. We're still going to categorize those. We're still going to make those that they're a contact. You took the time to put them in your phone. So now we're going to categorize them in such a way, because when we get to the marketing part of this, now we know exactly how to market. I'm going to talk to you much differently as a sphere of influence A than I am a C or a D.
Yeah.
All right. These are those unknowns. E's are their contractors. All right. We as real estate professionals, we deal with home inspectors. We deal with closing attorneys. We deal with plumbers, electricians, landscapers, pool cleaning people, pool inspection people. I want you to be a source of a source of resources So when your clients call or you're on the phone with Bobby Smith and he's like, man, I've been actually thinking about you. Do you happen to know anybody? Because I know you're in real estate. Do you happen to know anybody that does land surveys? Great. Yeah, that's Tony Garman. He's over in Statham. He can help you out. Let me send you his number. It makes it a lot easier. And I see that you're pulling up that vendor list too in Wise Agent. But E, sphere of influence E for me is contractors. And then guys, we're agents, right? We're realtors. We know, I guarantee you half of those 10,000 people on my phone are other agents across the world and nation, right? So sphere of influence F are other realtors. Now I can have you in my sphere of influence F and my sphere of influence B, because we've done referrals together. You can be a C and be a B, right? We can multiple categorize them based on the relationship that you have. But this next step of that 30 minutes a day working in your database is categorizing your contacts.
Yeah. And then categories means, I mean, that's just how you segment your audience. Like Nakia, you said, it's really important. The people that are in your A, in your A ranking, you're going to talk to them completely differently than what you're going to talk to the B people. Just like the A people are going to come in through your garage door, and the B's and C's are using your front door. It's a little bit more, maybe more proper, more formal, more it's a different relationship. And so what you're doing is you're categorizing them, and within Wise Agent, you can actually have two different types of, actually multiple ways of doing this, but you have the ranking system that we have, that A through F, right? And then you also have your categories. So you can come in here and tag them with their interests, right? Because that's something that I want to make sure that when I'm talking to them, I know what interests them. So obviously if I'm talking to Michael Phelps, and let's pretend like it's not Michael Phelps, right? So I'm talking to him, oh, you enjoy swimming, you enjoy gardening, awesome. And you've got a new cat in your house. So I want to have some kind of rapport. You need to have some kind of conversation on what their interests are, bringing that conversation to like how you're building that relationship between each other. It can't just be all about buy or sell, buy or sell.
Absolutely. And I'm going to go a step further with this, right? 12 years of my life, I was a police in Gwinnett County, right? So I know a ton of law enforcement officers. I know a ton of paramedics and firefighters, right? So we've all heard this story before. Riches are in the niches, right? So having those niches in the categories, there may be, your preferred lender may have a specific program for public safety people, right? Now when we work through and build those relationships with people, right? We do business with people that we know, like, and trust. We're building those relationships. Now, if you're putting these categories in here, it makes it easier for you to send out and say, hey, my lender's got this special for law enforcement or public safety. Now we're able to market down that and make it easier for us to grab those niches.
Yeah, exactly. And part of it too is being able to distinguish, what kind of conversations you're having, what the tone is, knowing that there's a group of people that have like interests, and they have similar interests. You can have those conversations with them really easily, sending them out, email messages, marketing campaigns. I know that's a big thing too, is being able to set up people in the right kind of campaign with that right tone, with that right message. So within Wise Agent, you can easily take your A-ranked clients in here, select all of these people and say, I want to add them to a marketing campaign. And when you add them to a marketing campaign, and in here, let me just go back a step here so I can show you. There's 33 people in this group. What you don't want to do is add 3,000 people, right? Or some number, whatever your number is, you should know, right, Nakia? I mean, they need to understand, as realtors, you need to know what can you handle if people are going to be responding to you. If 20% of the people respond back to you, or even 50% of the people respond back to you, are you able to handle those messages?
That's right.
Because there's nothing worse than sending out an email to somebody and then they reply back to you, within a day, and then you ghost them.
Well, what's going to happen is they're going to realize, hey, he sent that message. When he sent that message, I responded. I responded to this message, and then he didn't respond back. So the next message I send, they're going to be like, oh, screw that. Nakia's, that's an automated message from Nakia. He's not going to respond anyway. So then they don't, you've lost control of that conversation, and it's very difficult to get that back, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. That's absolutely correct. I mean, then they're going to know that you're putting on a drip campaign, you're using some system, and then not just that, but then you are either too busy, not interested, whatever it is. They're going to start putting assumptions in their own head because they haven't received anything back from you. So that is a really, you don't want someone to have that kind of experience. So make sure that you are, so test your limits. Put 50 people in and see what's your response rate. Within Wise Agent, you can look at your emails and seeing how many people are opening them and whatnot. So then you can start, oh, I sent out 50, 20 people opened them and I got 5 replies back. So you know where you're at with this, you're about a 10% response rate. So you can maybe push that limit a little bit further if that's something in your comfort zone.
Yeah, and I'm going to get a little bit ahead of us here, right? You sent an email out to 50 people. Guys, we know 2 things happen for responses for these contacts, right? Number one, put a video in it, right? You're going to always get more responses from a video, and then content is king, right? Make sure that it's kind of like Facebook or social media, Instagram. We're going through, we're scroll. If we're just putting, oh, just listed, oh, this is you're not going to get that response because they know that's the same thing that Nakia posts every single time. We want to get that reach count, right? So the way we do that is integrate videos in that, and then also provide content, be a resource. Price is only an object in the absence of value. We've heard that for years, right? Let's give them value in what we're sending, so that when they know, hey, listen, he is going to send me something, and when he sends it, I need to take the time to look at it because he's very thoughtful in what he sends. So we want to make sure we're crushing that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm showing here our marketing campaigns where you can set it up. You could even set the preferred time that this goes out. You could set up if it's an email that goes out automatically, or maybe a text message. And if you're sending out an email, like Nakia said, we've made it really easy for you to add a video. So you could add a YouTube video if you are using Dub and you're on Chrome. I'm in Firefox here today, so I can't show my Dub, but we also have the option to put in a Dub video as well. And so you could add that, you could add images, you could do what you want. If you're sending out a text message, same thing. So you can put in your message in here, and again, include a video or an image. The video, what's so great about it, and that's why we're doing video here today, you can hear not just hear the tone of our inflection, you can see our faces, you can see if we're smiling, if we're kind of standoffish, whatever it is, you can see and have that kind of connection with somebody. Video is really, really powerful. They see your face, they can see how, start getting to know you and trust you and like you. But then it's also powerful if you are doing a just listed. So you can go around and you can say, okay, who are all the A people in my list, my database, that are actively searching for homes, right? I can do that really easily. Come in here and say, who's actively looking in this neighborhood, right? Or in this zip code. So I can come in here and say, who are all my A's or my A's and B's that are looking for a specific property that, and I'm going to just do by bedrooms because I think I have that, that's looking for a 2-bedroom, right? And if I want to go in here and do more finer details and say in the specific city or neighborhood or whatever zip code, and now I can find this list. And now I can say, I can set them up on this drip campaign about this house, this 2-bedroom house that I listed in this neighborhood. And now I can say, here's this great gazebo in the backyard. I know you've been looking for a fantastic backyard, because you don't have to say, you guys, you can make it sound like it's just a one-off message, and you can send a 40-second video to them through text. showcasing this house that you just listed. And it's to the specific people that are looking for a property.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's so many different studies out there about video versus, but what we do know is in the majority of time, video is going to get 5 times the response rate. If you add a photo instead of a video, you're going to get about 3 times the response rate versus just a standard, just, hey, how's your mom and them, right? So we want to at least add a photo so that we get that attention. It's about grabbing the attention. Once we grab the attention, then it's about capitalizing on it. So at least do a photo, do a funny picture or something. Then the best is always video for sure.
Yeah. And you could even within Wise Agent, you can create a property flyer and include that in here. I think I can, I have some saved in here, so I can upload one of the property flyers that I created here. I think this is one. This is the other thing I tell everyone, please send yourself a test. There's nothing worse than sending out a text message with the wrong image or a misspelled word or something else, and then also personalize it. So use the first, use these placeholders for their names. And it doesn't just have to be like, hi first. It could be, you have to see this. You have to see this blank, first name. The first name could be anywhere. It doesn't have to be the second word. So make it really unique and use your own words and your own terminology. You guys that have been on my webinar before know that I'm originally from Chicago. In Chicago, we don't say y'all. We've never said y'all.
We say y'all in Georgia.
Y'all in Georgia, y'all is for people in Georgia. If I said y'all to my friends in Chicago, they would be like, she's running a fever. What's wrong with her? We just don't say that.
Oh, I guess how's your mom and them,
Right, we say you guys, hey, you guys. Or if you're from the south side of Chicago, you say yous guys, right? So just use your own tone, be unique and be yourself. It doesn't have to be super, you shouldn't be fake and phony. Be yourself. That's why people like you. That's why people are doing business with you. So show your personality in your messages and your emails as well.
That's right.
Yeah, I think that's
so the next thing, and I want you guys to do this while we're on this webinar. Hey, take out your phone and put in the chat, how many contacts do you currently have in your phone? I want to know, start putting them in the chat here, because I want you guys to be involved in this. So Sabrina's got 1,135 contacts.
I'll even put mine in there.
You're right.
Yeah.
The third step of the 30 minutes a day working on your database is what I call 3 down. And this is really important because the more we can have meaningful conversations, the more business that we have in our pipeline. 2665, 2798. So here's how we do 3 down, right? I have Bobby Smith in my phone, right? I'm going to look at this. I'm going to take a clean sheet of paper and I'm going to say Bobby Smith. Who do I know that knows Bobby Smith? Well, I know Daryl. All right. I'm going to write Daryl down there. Who else do you know that knows Bobby that knows you? All right. I know Sarah. All right. And I'll write Sarah down, or Barbara. Now what I'm doing is I'm triplicating my 6,000. Joe from down here has got 6,733. Now by doing 3 down, we're triplicating what we already have. So, hey, Bobby, this is Nakia. I'm a local real estate agent. I've got a goal to help 15 families this year achieve their dream of home ownership. Who do you know that I can help bring those dreams come true, right? Now I'm going to call Daryl. Hey, Daryl, I don't know if you know me or not, but I know you through Bobby, right? And I'm a local realtor. I want to help 15 families. Who do you know that I can help? What I've learned from this is we're not cold calling folks. We're already talking. We've built the relationship with Bobby already. All right. Bobby knows, likes, and trusts us. And because we know Bobby, Daryl knows Bobby, he's got to like me somewhat because Bobby doesn't have crappy friends. So now we're not making cold calls, we're making warm calls, and we're meshing those relationships together based on people who we already know. Now, when you start doing this technique, Chris, who's got 823 contacts, you're going to have Bobby in there. You already may have Daryl and Sarah, but you may not have the third person. the purpose of this is every single day we're going to spend 30 minutes building that database. Name, email address, phone number. And so we may have Daryl in there. I know Daryl through Bobby, but I don't really know how to get in touch with him, right? So now we may Facebook stalk, we may Instagram stalk. Well, we're going to look at Bobby's Facebook or Instagram so we can get that information. We may use something like White Pages or Spokeo or Zava Search to try to find those numbers to make those contacts work. Because remember, it's not a contact unless we have a first name, last name, email address, and phone number. So now we're building this database to be able to grow from Carolina's 1,696 people to 3 times that. The more people we have in that database, the more conversations we have, the more meaningful conversations you have every single day is more in that funnel to come out the bottom.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, I mean, and another way of doing that is, I mean, you're saying it through phone calls. In other ways, you want to have a client appreciation party, say, hey, I'm going to have this client appreciation party. Do you want to invite 2 or 3 of your friends, bring them over? Let's have a couple of cocktails. We've got some appetizers, you know, it's going to be a great time. You bring them over and they bring 2, 3 of their friends. You're opening up your circle in your sphere of influence that much more, because they're bringing people that they like and know and trust, right? Because they're like, oh, let me introduce you. I think that you're going to get along really great with Nakia. So yes, here, come along here with me. And so you keep opening that up. There's multiple ways of doing that. And I think Nakia, what I love about your coaching here, your program here, is the fact that you're working in your database, you're setting yourself up with goals. Because I mean, it's all very goal driven. We're here in the beginning of 2022, and you know what we want is I just saw Sarah's typo. And so what we want you to do is be goal driven and go out there and set a system, have something that will really help you get to that next level of your business. And so having a way of putting in 30 of your contacts every single day and saying, okay, these are my 30 contacts that I'm going to be working with. And you're either adding them into the system, into Wise Agent, or those are the 30 that you're just going to pick from for today and say, I'm going to call these first 30 people. Where's my contact list? And the way that we even have Wise Agent set up is I could even change this to clients per day. So I can set this up and say, I've got 9,000 people in here, whatever I have, I'm only going to display the first 30.
That's
and
right.
Now I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to make calls, or I'm going to text, or I'm going to do whatever, or I'm going to fill in the information. Like I don't have Diana's company or title. I'm going to put that in here. I'm going to go in and do that.
So, absolutely. And just to answer a quick question, Stephanie was asking, how do I look at the number of contacts on my phone? Here's another thing that we need to talk about. Number one, Stephanie, you're going to go to contacts on the right hand side. If you're younger generation, it's a hashtag. If you're an older generation, it's a £. But you hit that button and scroll all the way to the bottom, and your contacts are going to be here. Here's a key that we also have to hit that we didn't hit, right? I see a lot in coaching when I take somebody's phone, and my agents will tell you if they're on here, like if you come to my office and sit down and say, hey, I can't find anybody to sell houses to, I'm going to grab your phone. I'm going to start scrolling through your contacts. And I'm going to say, when was the last time you talked to Bobby? And if I feel like you're BSing me, I'm going to click call, and I'm going to call Bobby for you. Right. But one of the things that I see is, Joe on here may have 5 email addresses in his phone, right? So it's a really key thing to make sure that you only have contacts turned on one place, your primary email account, because what happens is if you've got a Yahoo account, you got a Gmail account, you got a AOL account, and you're storing contacts all over, you don't have one unified place to do those. So what I tell you is sign in your Yahoo, do a contact export. Once you do that, sign into AOL, do a contact export, sign into Gmail, contact export, bring them all into one place. Once you get all of those CSV files from your contact exports, you got to go into those email accounts and delete all those contacts out so that you can upload every single contact you have into one email account. Right? Because the way Android, and I'm an Apple guy. I'm sorry for you, the Android folks, but the way both systems work, guys, is they synchronize across all the platforms. So my iPad, my iPhone, my MacBook Air, my MacBook Pro, my iMac, they all synchronize, but they won't synchronize if I've got contacts in multiple email accounts. So you want to make sure, yes, Greg, Wise Agent does delete duplicates out. However, if you're setting up and have multiple email accounts and multiple contacts in multiple email accounts, I'm trying to get you to funnel those contacts into one place, because you are correct, and they're going to delete those duplicates out. But we want contacts only in one place.
Yeah, because that is the thing. I mean, and on your phone and you know, on your phone, you want to make sure, and I'm glad you brought this up, because this is something that can cause a lot of people, and I know I've talked to many people that are that have this problem where they're like, I go on my phone and I look up Nakia and I've got 5 different contact records of Nakia. And that is something that will cause you a nightmare, because what's happening is you need to make sure and I always think about it as like a bank, right? So your phone is the bank, and then AOL and Hotmail and Gmail and Yahoo, those are all accounts. And so when you go to bank, you want to just, I mean, obviously you want to deposit $20 in all of your accounts, but unlike that system in your phone for contacts, you only want to have one in each of in that record set. So you don't want to have them in AOL and Hotmail, because then your notes and your everything it's all going to be, you're going to have an address for Nakia in Hotmail and his email in Yahoo and his phone number in Gmail. You're going to have a hot mess. You're going to have a hot mess.
That's right.
So so that's something to be really wary about, because that's something that can get you in trouble.
Yeah, and I know that Sarah put in here that we have a merge tool in Wise Agent, but even before you start, you can use, there's tons of apps for Android and iPhone to kind of clean those up, because here's the thing, like somebody put in here, let me see who the last person to put. Stephanie says she's got 10,040 contacts. Well, here's the thing, she may have 2,500 contacts if she's got 3 different email accounts with 3 different contacts turned on. So we want to make sure we're getting the full exposure of all those contacts. There was a reason that we took the time to program somebody's phone number in our phone. So let's take advantage of that so that we can get all that information. So that it's really important to merge those into one. So I love how you did that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, and the other thing I wanted to clarify too, I think, because I saw a couple of questions on this, is so within Wise Agent, you can only have one rank per person per contact record, but you could have multiple categories. So you could have them ranked as A here, but then also as a buyer, or, you know, a VIP buyer, regular buyer, this is a test account. So I could come in here and say, you know, they're also a seller, or whatever it is that you want to put in here. You can add them to multiple categories. So the way that Wise Agent works is, and you can search by those different categories in multiple categories. So I can search for people that are, you know, whatever. I can search for VIP buyers. I can search for all sorts of things, and I can use this in conjunction with my ranking system. So that is something that you want to make sure that I wanted to clarify. So you can have multiple things. So if you want, you know, and then also the statuses. So you can see who am I actively working with? That's a ranked, that is a VIP buyer. And so then I can search for that specific person. Yeah,
and I want to clarify, Michael had a question in the chat. So what I'm talking about, Michael, is if I have an AOL account, I have a Yahoo account, I got a Gmail account, I'm going to go into Gmail. I'm going to go to contacts.google.com. I'm going to do the export for that whole file, right? And then I'm going to go into Yahoo, do the same thing. And then I'm going to go into AOL. I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm going to have 3 different CSV files. Then what I want to do is go into each of those email accounts, Yahoo, AOL, and Gmail. And I want to delete all of those. If I'm going to make Gmail my primary, I don't delete them there, but I'm going to delete all my contacts out of AOL. And I'm going to delete all my contacts out of Yahoo. And then those 2 CSV files from those accounts, I'm going to upload those to Gmail so that all my accounts are, all my contacts are in that one place. Then that's how I'm going to start managing my contacts. The next step, which is the crucial part, go into your phone, go into the settings, and where your AOL and your Yahoo is, make sure you turn off synchronizing your contacts, because if you don't, it's just going to throw them back in there, and then you're going to have triplicates. So once you do the CSV dump, delete them out of those accounts, turn the contacts off, and then dump them into that one primary account. That's what's going to make that merge a lot easier. I hope that.
And on your Android or iPhone, there is a setting to say which is your default contact setting. So you can just, if you're like, ooh, I don't know if I want to turn these off or delete them out of my AOL account, you don't have to necessarily delete them out of that account. You can just turn off the contacts from syncing to your phone, and then make sure that that's not your default setting if you're going to be choosing Google, right, as your default one. And then all your contacts go there. With Google, we do have that 2-way automated sync. So anyone that gets added to your phone, so then when you are out and about and you're at the line at Starbucks and you strike up an interesting conversation with the person in front of you, and you're like, oh, I'm going to add them to my contact list, I'm going to add them to my phone. Well, the next time you go into your Wise Agent account and it'll sync in here, then that new person will be synced into your Wise Agent account, and you can go in there, add your notes and everything else, or you could use the mobile site to do all of that from adding your notes in there. It really is important, though, to make sure that you're adding them in that one central location. And then 2 is adding the notes in there. And then 3 is that follow-up, right? So I know, Nakia, you're a big user of the Wave Dialer, and that's something that we've integrated into our platform through our call list. So you can come in here and start a dialing session. Ooh, let me make sure I'm finding my.
And while you're doing that too, Rita, you had the question about what's the best app to merge merge contacts. I use an app called Contact Cleanup. It's a little blue icon. It has a little broom by it. I don't get anything from them. I actually pay for that app, but it allows us to find duplicates. It allows us to. The really cool thing that I like about that is if I have just Bobby in my phone, it's going to say, hey, Bobby is just a first name only. And so now I know I need to add Bobby Smith. If I have a phone number for Bobby, but I don't have an email address, I can do a search on that. And it's going to say, hey, out of your 9,847 contacts, you've got 210 that don't have email addresses. So my 30 minutes a day working on my database, now I want to try to start finding email addresses for those people, or vice versa, phone numbers. So it's a really good app. It's called Contact Cleanup. And so, that's one that I've found. There's hundreds of them out there, but I hope that helps you.
Yeah. And so while you were talking about that, I just wanted to come in here and show you how the dialer session works, because what's really cool about this is that it's completely embedded within Wise Agent. And what we do is we've done with it where you can add your notes right away during that dialing session. So you can come in here, and when it opens, what's happening with my internet? Hopefully something's going on with the internet here. What happens is this will come up and it'll ask me to dial out. So now I can come in here and look at my previous notes and see, okay, this is the past conversation that I had. Let me pick up on that last time that we talked. We did, we said this, that, or the other. And so now I can pick up on that thread and have that conversation. And then of course, set my follow-up. So the next time I call Holly is going to be on the 19th. And why am I calling her? To see if she's interested in whatever it is that we're talking about. right? And so now we're forcing you to do this follow-up because that's a really important thing. You want to make sure that you're not just having those conversations and then never scheduling a follow-up with them, because that's something that would really, that's going to be a detriment to you, because you don't want to just have that phone call and then never schedule anything to go back out again.
Well, and this is a good segue into the second part of 30, 30, and 3. The second 30 is working 30 minutes a day on our systems, right? So the first thing I tell guys is, if you're in this business, I've coached people that's been in the business 25 years. I'm like, what's your process when somebody calls you and wants to buy a house? They're like, what do you mean? Well, what do you do? Like, right? We want to set ourselves up for the future. We talk about, hey, you know, doctors, when they get ready to retire, they sell their practice of patients off to the next doctor, right? Well, if we don't have a good system in place and good contact database system in place, then we really have nothing to sell, and you're just going to end up selling for your whole entire life. So the second part is 30 minutes a day, you're going to work on your systems. The first thing I want you to do is get a blank piece of paper, old school, and write buyer at the top. Every single step that you're going to do working with that buyer, I want you to put that down. All right. And then it may take you 5, 6, 10 days to get that system. Remember, anytime you do this more than 3 times, that's a process. When we create a checklist and write it down, it's now a system. I want you to do that for a buyer. I want you then to do it for a seller. Notice I didn't say technology. I want you to do those 2 things first. You know, for years, my listing process, I was a listing agent. For years, I had a 44-step system that was able to go through, and that's how I got the most amount of money in the quickest amount of time possible. Once you get those 2 systems down, we want to start doing systems like this, like learning your CRM, learning these things. The thing that I see with agents is like, we're in this business, we don't know how to use the MLS, we don't know how to use our CRM, we get frustrated because it's so complicated, and then when we get frustrated, we quit. Where if we took intentional time every single day to better ourselves and better our business, learning the insides and outs of Wise Agent and how I didn't know that I could rank these people. I didn't know that I could put these tags. I didn't realize I could search based on those tags. You know, I'm a law enforcement agent. I also love fishing. So now I can work through. I didn't realize I could say, hey, if it's a fishing tag and an LEO tag, then this is here. Now that creates opportunities for you to go out and contact these people. So 30 minutes a day, we want to work on our systems, and it's not a system unless you've written it down.
Yeah, and I love that you bring that up, because that's one of our core, you know, our core like functionalities within Wise Agent is our checklist. That's what, you know, why Brandon originally started Wise Agent almost 20 years ago, was for the checklist, right? Yeah, there was, right. There's a lot of steps in being, going through a transaction that you can't possibly, I mean, and even if you do it every week, or, you know, once a month or whatever it is, or even every day, I'm pressing the wrong button, it's inevitable that you will probably miss something, because there's a lot of different steps that you have to take. So I love that you say, like, take your time and write it all out, and then go back and input it into a system like Wise Agent, where you can come in here and say, okay, these are my critical dates that are based on the tasks that need to be completed. So I know I need to schedule an appraisal. I know I have to do this disclosure and this thing and that thing. And there's times that I have, and it's time sensitive. Everything in real estate is time sensitive. It's not like, just do it whenever, right? You got to do it before or after a certain date. So I need 8 days before the contract, or after the contract date, I need to schedule this appraisal. And then, you know, 15 days after this, I need this disclosure. And so you need to make sure, and you can, and if you mess up, the nice thing is you can, you know, move things around, and you can see where this all fits. But what the nice thing is that you get it all in here, because this is where you're going to be coming in to say, all right, well, now that I have this all set up, now I'm going to go in and I'm going to start a transaction with somebody. Here's this transaction that I'm starting. Here, let me name the checklist, let me attach it to a contact, And that will live in this contact for Michael Phelps forever and ever in Wise Agent, where I can come in and see, what do I have to do? And I'll come in here, yep, I did this, I did that, or this, it doesn't apply to this transaction, so I won't do that one. But now I can see how much have I completed throughout my day. And then I can add all of my documents in here. If you've got, whatever forms that you need to go through, you can go through and get all your zip forms and manage those in here, get all your files and say, ooh, I need to attach this, contract or this addendum. I need to attach that to this transaction as well, so I can keep this forever and ever. And so you can add your notes in here. So a system in place for you to stay organized, stay on top of things. So then you're going through the best transaction for your buyer or seller, so then they can come back and have that repeat business.
That's right. I love it.
Yeah, so that's, and I love how you are setting everyone up and saying, get all your tasks. It might take you a few days to figure out what all your tasks are, but take that time, because when you set up in the beginning, you have to invest a little bit of time in order for you to save time later on.
That's right.
You just, so that's one of the things that are just a really big time saver, is that for everyone. All right.
That's right. So the last part of 30, 30, and 3 is where it gets controversial, in my opinion, right? So 17 years of doing this, I've coached a ton of people. When we get licensed in the very beginning, guys, people are like, oh my gosh, you're never going to get anywhere in this business if you don't just pick up the phone and call and call and call. And here's the thing. You got to be comfortable in what you're doing. So 30 minutes a day, I want you working on your database. 30 minutes a day, I want you working on your systems. And the 3 is very simple. 3 days a week for 1 hour a day, I want you working in your database. And that is simply calling these people that you've worked so hard to put in there. And so why I say it's controversial is because we go in, the broker says, hey, if you're not got an appointment, you need to lead generate. What I've learned is especially new agents and even older agents who are trying to get back into this. The market was crazy, so I got a full-time job and now I want to get back into this full-time. If you're lead generating for 5 hours a day, most people don't know how to do that. So when they don't know how to do that, they get frustrated because the results aren't very good. And when they get frustrated, they just quit. So what I want you to start off in, and if you already have a daily routine of lead generation, that's great. Keep doing what you're doing. But if you're not doing it, this is how you get started. 3 days a week for 1 hour. You simply call those people that you've been putting in your system. Hey, listen, I've got a goal to help this many people achieve their dream of home ownership. Who do you know that I can help achieve those dreams, right? And so when you look at it that way, 30 minutes a day on database, 30 minutes a day on systems, and 3 days a week for 1 hour, I'm only asking you to work 8 hours a week if you do 30 minutes a day and then you're 3 hours there. So 8 hours of concentrated work on your business is going to turn into multiple rewards because you're having meaningful conversations with the right people instead of just randomly throwing spitballs out and hoping that something sticks on the wall. So when we want to talk about what do I need to be doing with these, one of the things that I tell you is every single day, guys, go to lunch. Very simply, we all of you put in your contact in the chat here that you've got thousands of people's in your database, right? 3 days a week, I want you to take somebody differently to lunch. That's 52 weeks. That's crazy numbers. 52 weeks times
I know we were doing math today.
Yeah, my mind went blank because I normally know this. That's 156 people, right? If you went to lunch with 156 people a year, take them to Chick-fil-A. Everybody loves God's chicken, right? Take them to Chick-fil-A, spend $20. 156 times $20 is $3,120. We know that really the average commission, like in Georgia right now, is about $10,000 per transaction. So how is spending $3,000 to make a $10,000 commission. And here's the thing: if you convert at a horrible rate of 5% out of that 156 transactions, that's 8 transactions. That's 80 grand you just made that you spent $3,120 on. So think differently when you're talking about these. Start putting them in your database, start working those conversations. And it doesn't have to be about real estate. Real estate's going to come up if you're doing what you're supposed to do. Build relationships. People do business with people they know, like, and trust. And so build those relationships. Now, I said go to lunch every day, right? The other 2 days a week, I want you simply doing this. Go to lunch with a partner. That SOIE, the contractors, go to lunch with a home inspector. Learn what they're doing. Go to lunch with a closing attorney. Learn their processes. Lenders. There's tons of VA, FHA, USDA, all of these different loan packages. 9 times out of 10, those other 2 days a week, they're going to buy you lunch because they want your business. And now you're soaking this up like a sponge, and you're providing value to those other 3 days a week. Listen, Sarah, I was just having lunch yesterday with a home inspector, and he was saying that this is what he's seeing right now in this area with all this rain that we've been having. Now you're able to provide lunch to your friend. You're able to provide value to your friend. And you were just talking about your lunch with the home inspector. You brought up real estate without even bringing up real estate. You didn't make the lunch awkward. And I forgot you're in real estate. My cousin's looking to go buy a house. It just makes it organic and makes you be able to do that. Yeah. The other thing, guys, we have a free ability to lead generate every single day, right? All of us are on Facebook, and every single morning at 6 a.m., you get an email with your lead generation list, right? I got 5,000 friends on Facebook. That's my way of weeding out people on Facebook is every single morning, because I get an email of everybody's birthdays. Right. All right. Today, hey, I just want, instead of being like the 432 other people that they're our friends saying happy birthday on their wall, pick up the phone and call them. Hey, I just wanted to say hello. I wanted to wish you a happy birthday. I wanted to see how things were going in your life. I hope your day is amazing. Right now, it's not taking a 45-minute conversation with somebody. It's hey, listen, if they even ask you, well, how's real estate? Hey, listen, this is the key, guys. It goes back into your system, right? Hey, if they ask you about real estate, hey, listen, I appreciate you asking about real estate, but I didn't call you about real estate today. I wanted to call you and wish you happy birthday. Then you go back into Wise Agent. You set up a reminder to call them on Monday of next week. Hey, listen, we were having this conversation, Debbie, about I called you to wish you happy birthday, and you made something mention of how real estate was going. And I just simply, I didn't want to talk about real estate because it wasn't about me on that day. It was about your birthday. But I wanted to come back and circle back with that conversation. The real estate market is amazing, but it depends really, right? And Debbie's going to say, well, what do you mean it depends? Well, are you looking to buy? Are you looking to sell? Are you looking to do some investments? The market's great, but it really depends on what exactly you were asking about the other day. But I didn't want to take away from your birthday on that day. So doing those 2 steps of lead generation are going to crush it. If you have 10 of those conversations every single day, you're going to have so much business in the real estate market that you're doing it. And you have to be willing, you got to be that 1%, be willing to do that 1% that the other 99% won't do, because that's what makes you different. In Georgia, I just had a conversation with the real estate commissioner. We have 112,000 licensees in the state of Georgia, right? And 112,000 licensees, that means 1 out of every 25 people in my neighborhood are a real estate agent. So if I want to be better and I want to be different, how am I going to be different? I got to create those birthday messages. I got to go to lunch and be relational. And so that's that third part of that 3 is just build relationships, guys. Use the CRM to be able to make it easy on you. 10,000 people. I'm not going to be able to keep up with 10,000 people. That's why you got to rely on systems and processes to crush this business at a high level.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. And I love what you said about the other 2 days of the week, take out, a lender, take somebody out. that's how you get them to trust you, is because you're providing people with information. And so take somebody out that's one of the, go to your local college and find out who an economist is there. Take them out to lunch and say, hey, where do you see the housing market going? Read what NAR is releasing. I can't tell you how many people I talk to, and I'm like, did you read this article about NAR, what they said, what the chief economist said? And they're like, no, where'd you get that from? I'm like, you don't subscribe to the newsletters, you don't go to the site. I'm not even a realtor and I do that. I mean, you got to keep up with the industry, know what's happening in the market, know your surrounding area and what's happening, be involved in your associations. I mean, Nakia definitely serves his state association, his local association. Be involved in that, learn and have that information. So then you're out there providing that to your buyers and sellers, to your clients and potential clients. So then they can say, oh, wow, Nakia knows his stuff. I asked him this and that and the other, and he had an answer. And if he didn't have an answer, he knew where to direct me. He told me this is the lender I should talk to. And that lender, man, he was fabulous and got me the loan that I needed for the house that I wanted. So it's all about providing that service.
But if you're a secret agent and your social media doesn't show anything about your being an agent, and you're not going and having conversations with the people, we're only one part, right? We can train a monkey to open a door. We can train a monkey to do all these things. We get really paid to negotiate transactions and provide value to our consumers at the end of the day. So we have to bring value to those and bring value. And that's the way that you do that, is having those conversations. Conversations create opportunities. Opportunities turn into transactions. And that's huge. I teach that to our agents all the time. Conversations create opportunities. The opportunities from the conversation is what turns into those transactions.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I know we're running low on time. I want to say thank you to Nakia. I think all the information that you brought to everybody today was so helpful. And thanks to Sarah for typing as quickly. And so hopefully we were able to answer all of your questions. If not, you guys can find Nakia on Facebook. You guys can send us an email at help@wiseagent. I think Sarah's going to put in our contact information in here as well. You can find us on our Facebook community as well. So I know, Nakia, you're on, I think you're on all the social platforms, right?
I'm putting in the chat right now.
Yeah.
So here's another one last tech tip on the way out is make it easy for people to get in touch with you. So for me, I have a landing page on my website. It's called connectwithnakia.com. It's a hidden page. You go to connectwithnakia.com. It gives you access to my Facebook, my Instagram, my Twitter, my LinkedIn. And so now I've given you one place for you to get contact. We're in the information gathering business, not the information giveaway. But if you make it easy, those people that know 5 or 6 real estate agents, when it's easy for them to get in touch with you, it's easier for you to do business. So check, friend me, connect with me on social media, connectwithnakia.com. And thank you so much for the opportunity to share today. I love sharing.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. And I think we all learned a ton of information. I appreciate your time, and I appreciate everyone that joined us. Next week, I'm going to be hosting the webinar with another Georgia realtor. So we're going to Georgia this month. So Sabrina Lowry, one of my dear friends, she's going to be on as well. She's the tech evangelist, and so we're going to be talking about Google and Google Apps and how that works with Wise Agent. So we're going to be going through all of the Google integrations and everything else Google related. So that'll be a fun one. And then I know I'm going to let you get back to your conference, Nakia. I know you're out there in Amelia Island, so enjoy your time there. Travel safely back home. Thanks, everyone, and I'll see you guys next time.
Have a great day, guys.
All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.